was nothing, just lights in the trees, a trick of the frost, a ghost on the breeze. But I saw a mirror older than me, staring through time like it wanted to speak. The forest went silent, the world held its breath. Something was watching beyond life and death. We stepped through the green, boots breaking the seal, not chasing a light, but something too real. I came back with salt on my skin, my mind split wide where the storm got in. They call it a test, but I know the deal. History blinks beneath the green veil.
It would be helpful if I did that. Good evening, everybody. See that? Did you just see that? The door just went. Anyway, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our review of Chapter 4, the Signal Splice, and preview of Chapter 5, the Double Blind. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you, John?
Happy as whatever. Just
That's a great answer, John. Whatever.
This has been a great day, man, and it's only getting better.
Let's see, Chris, let's see how he feels a few months from now if a subpoena is issued to him to appear at a hearing. Oh, my God. Let's see how John responds to that, because that could happen, right, John? That's something that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, okay. Now you just ruined the moment. Thanks.
Well, anyway, Chris, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It's been a very crazy day, one thing after another, and I'm just glad I'm here and the equipment's working. Whatever could go wrong was going wrong today.
Well, it's going good now, Chris. We're going to have a fun hour here tonight.
We're going to have a great time.
So, Chapter 4, the Signal Splice. And I'm just going to read the description of the show. I hope that many of you that are watching right now have seen the first 4. It's just getting more intense, in my opinion, as it goes on. As I was speaking with John earlier, I have to watch these like 2 or 3 times just to soak up all the information that's in it, because there's a lot of technical details in here as well that relates to actual existing and developing technology. Right, John? Am I on?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% right. It's okay. I think the best way to put this is, we even talked about it last week, was I'm intermixing the past, present, and future in this 22-part series, where we're heading. And what's getting a little crazy is some of what is in this is actually moving forward for real. As we speak, things are happening right now that kind of fall within the Green Veil.
Agreed with the things that, like you said, are coming out in the news. The government is coming out with certain information, statements from officials in regards, like Chris mentioned this last week, the manipulation of time and space, the technology that they're developing, and probably already have. And we know this. We're probably 20 years ahead, and we don't even know what the heck is really going on. But I'm sure it probably already exists. We've seen the Tic Tac as a great example in 2004. But Chris, what is your take after Chapter 4?
Well, I tell you, one of the things, John, that I was impressed, I said this last week and I'll say it again, and I will tell the listeners, listen to the song. The song really tells a lot in the story, and also kind of gives you questions about this story. And that's important, because before you get into the actual, telling of the chapter, the song tells you a lot. The song gives you an idea, hey, what the hell happened, what we was looking at. And I really concentrated on the song this time, John, and things like the mirror. You're looking into the mirror link. What was the link with the mirror? Was that actually a craft, a portal? Because in the song, it describes it as a mirror.
What was on the other side of the mirror?
Right. Exactly. Was it a portal though? Do you?
But what
in
did
your
you
mind-
see? What did you see in the mirror?
Well, there was nothing shown in the mirror, and I was staring
Oh,
at it. I was
wait a minute. I'm sorry. That's in 5. Oops. I just met you.
Hey,
I'm
Last week
sorry.
I got chastised.
I can't keep up with all this.
And now you're giving it away.
The 5 actually shows what's on the other side. Yes.
all right. Before we get into talking about previewing chapter 5, which Chris, I had a discussion with John earlier about 5, but we'll save that because I was like, whoa. And we'll get into that later because there's a lot of stuff going on in 5 that is really like making me ask even more questions.
Yeah.
And he's not giving me anything. It's
Now
like
we can't talk about the signal.
Oh, but I tried. We'll get into
I know
that.
you did. And
But-
stuff. There's a lot of questions about 5 when we get to that part.
But get back to 4. Like you had to. I'm sure you probably did the same thing I did. I had to watch it a couple of times just to absorb everything that was going on.
John, when the song talks about the mirror, that you're looking into the mirror, you're approaching the mirror. At any time did you think that was a ship, a portal? Because it wasn't just a mirror.
No, but again, I'll have to give it away for next week. But ultimately, if you want to lean which way or another, it's an opening in time going somewhere else.
Okay, it kind of gives an idea.
If I tell you, then 5's part of 5 because 5's really going to be short next week, but it's for a reason. It's short and sweet, and that's part of what's revealed in 5. So
the one thing in 4 that I started getting the hint of that this was, and a lot of part of it was an experimental thing that was taking place that you were in the middle of, that they were working on systems and things that they were also, I guess, putting toward the Tic Tac. Am I right about that?
yeah, that's true. I mean, that's why partly I'm smiling. Okay. All right. Russ Colcart. What's the name of the congressman from Missouri?
Burchett?
No, that's Tennessee.
Burleson?
It's the guy. Is it
Burleson?
Burleson? Yeah. They both have come out now and say the Tic Tac's ours. That they got it's evidence. Yeah, but I was saying that. That's what I'm saying, Chris. I was saying this way back 2 or 3 years ago that
We
this
talked
stuff
about
is
this.
ours. But everybody attacked me for it and said it couldn't be. It's not.
No, you're right on the money.
And it is. And not only that, it's been developed from what was taking place back in 1980, right outside the back gate of RF Woodbridge. All the people that were back in the science community back then was already studying this phenomenon to make these kind of effects. I just wrote a paper that over 50,000 people have read on my Facebook page talking about how the Tic Tac manipulates space and time. I sent it to you, Chris. Did you read it?
Yeah.
All right, time out. Isn't it interesting, and it's not a coincidence, that the TikTok stuff, the TikTok stuff comes out?
Yeah, it's easy to screw those two up.
I was waiting for him to say tactic.
Oh, gosh. But to confirm, we have confirmation coming forward from a congressional individual, and we're hearing from Ross Colhart about this. But at the same time, that's coming out. It's like they got ahead of it or they were trying to get ahead because then a spokesman from the State Department says we can manipulate time and space. So it's like both things are coming out at the same time.
Actually, John called this quite a while
No,
ago.
he did. But I'm saying it's interesting how first we hear the Tic Tac is actually, what is it? Lockheed Martin? That is the one that's in charge of this?
It's partly Lockheed Martin, but there's another company.
But then we hear the government saying, yeah, we can manipulate time and space. So it's like, it's almost like happening at the same time. We've seen this before when all this initially broke out in 2017. They were trying to get ahead of it, but all that stuff. But
even let's talk about the next thing. It has to do with the green belt. We have an object an interstellar object that some scientists say actually could be here to interact with Earth. Now, am I saying that is factual? No, but it does tie into what the green veil is all about.
Right. And John, I want to piggyback on that a little bit because I think that to your credit about putting this show together, this series together, which is I think so far is phenomenal. I think that it was learning from you as much as they were learning from it. It had an exchange of information almost that it starts in chapter 4. You start seeing this almost exchange of information where whatever this, and I'm going to call it an entity. I don't like to call it a craft because I'm not really sure what.
Well, it's definitely not a craft. It's
Right.
definitely
So, and then I'm going to call it an entity for this part, but seems like it was learning. It was gathering information as much as the team behind you that you were unaware of was trying to gather information from it. You were the man in the middle. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's coming out soon. You're really receptive on all this, Chris. You are good. You are doing.
Well, I was a homicide detective. I mean, I think about these little things.
Man.
So I tried this earlier with him, Chris. I did the same thing, but because what I was thinking, speaking, because I don't, like I said, 5 is going to be really interesting. All of us obviously we've seen 5 and we're preparing for it with the preview. But the thing is it the thing that he encountered is some kind of sophisticated, highly advanced AI intelligence that
or maybe NHI, or both together.
You see what he does?
Well, I think here's what I think he's saying. It's maybe NHI control, but it is AI. Am I close to that, John?
Man, you haven't even seen the chapters going forward. You're good, Chris. I mean, you're good.
So, but I think what it is almost like an exchange of information with you being the receptor. Now, the one thing that I'm
let's just say in the future you're going to understand that more than a receptor.
Absolutely. One of the things I wanted to ask you, because the word Cobra Mist was said a lot of times.
Yes.
I don't think the listeners really understood what Cobra Mist was. I think it was a radar system, correct?
It's an over-horizon system that was one of the locations. And again, I want to be careful because certain people botched this themselves. There were 4 locations at one point. Okay. One of them was in the United Kingdom. And here's the kicker, right? Which, again, everybody just wants to run around with their heads cut off, the sky's falling. But the thing is that it got shut down because of inland interference from the phenomenon. Or most of it got shut down, and they actually downsized it, and they still were utilizing it during our event. Again, I'm giving up a little bit of the future, but the point being is that is real technology. And I'll let you guys make a guess. Who do you think came in and evaluated Cobra Mist and what was causing all the problems?
Is it going to be the same old? Is it Kit Green?
SRI.
Hal Puthoff.
Yeah, he was part of SRI. Yeah. But it was Stanford Research Institute, which anybody's paying attention to today. Guess who's in the middle of everything going on right now?
SRI.
Everything. Where's Nolan coming from?
SRI.
Yes. Where's Green and Puthoff? Well,
SRI.
Yes. Okay. I could just go down the list.
I think didn't Puthoff actually would another scientist didn't Puthoff actually start SRI?
I was going to ask that.
He was part of it. I'm not sure who exactly.
When did it start?
Russell Tarr.
Yeah, Russell Tarr was part of it, yes.
Yeah, Russell Tarr.
When did this start?
Oh, you're asking me questions that I don't have the answers on the tip of my finger, but it would have been back in the 50s, if I remember correctly. I'd have to look it up. But SRI that's one of, like, okay, I'll give an example. They just shut down OANI. And you can't get any answers. Well, I'm still waiting on FOIAs, see if they'll answer them or not. But SRI is another agency that nobody but me has FOIA. And I understand a lot of different things about them, and I went after them with FOIA now.
Yeah, but John, can you foil SRI? Because they're not a
Sure.
government. They're
Sure
not
can.
really a government.
They're tied to a government agency.
So you could
You
still
can
foil
ask
them.
questions about FOIA. That's where they try to cover it up with. They put it under, civilian agencies and patents and stuff. But yes, you can go after that agency if you know how to do it.
All right, here's another question that I got to pose to you. So in the music part, right at the ending of the music beginning, you wake up out of a bed. I won't say you, but the character, Jack, wakes up out of a bed. And it seems like he feels like the forest is calling him.
Yes.
And
that's real though. That really happened.
Right. The question is, and I don't know if this is something that you want to go into. Was something attached to you after the initial incident, or was something attached to it from you that was drawing? Was it drawing you, or you drawing it?
Or
well,
both?
you would have to say, well, again, I'll have to give stuff away. You're great, man. You're just filling people's thoughts about what's coming next. It's explained. It's explained why. And
so we can't go into that.
Well, we shouldn't.
I can't go into any subject on this thing.
He's taking the fifth.
No, I'm not. It just is. It's explained. But if I tell you now, you're not. People aren't going to see it when it actually comes out and the full explanation. But yes, I was clearly being drawn by the phenomenon. Yes, I was.
Okay. But we talked last week. Now, I know you can talk about this because we talked about it last week, and I wanted to ask you this. We had talked about that part of your memory was coming back, or your memory was being erased, part of it by the NHI, but also by scientists. When you were being examined, they were disrupting your memory. And you had it at both angles, but your memory started coming back. Can you explain? Do you think your memory was being induced to come back, or do you think your own self was bringing it back?
And I want to add to that, to what Chris is saying. And is the signal responsible for any of that activity of your memories?
That's a lot to cover. Okay, well, let's try to break this down. Okay.
Well, we got a lot of time.
I know. Well, I know, but I mean, first of all, if you go into Condyne, which most people didn't, okay, and I don't know if I said this before, but it's true. All the major researchers that were involved with, investigations into UFOs at the time, that's what they were called. The British government changed it. Most people don't realize the history, but the British government in 2000, I believe it was, changed their numerology to UAPs. Then the first time, does anybody remember who first introduced everybody to UAPs? You, Chris?
Yes, I do. It was a government person, I think.
No, yeah, it was
Elizondo.
No, it was Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton.
Don't you remember? She went on, I forget what late night show it was, and when she was running for president against Trump, she said there's a new word for what we're dealing with. It's called UAPs. And if I get elected, I will do something about it. She was the first one that brought the word UAP to the American people.
Now, I think they first said it was unidentified aerial phenomenon, but didn't they change it after that?
Anomalous.
Yeah, anomalous phenomenon.
Yeah, they've tried to narrow it in a little bit from aerial to anomalous.
All right, let's go off.
Well, no, I want to finish what you asked.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So, UAPs. All right, re-ask the question. You just made me lose my train of thought.
Go ahead, Chris.
What was the question?
The question is that your memory was deterred by the NHI,
I
but
got it. I got it.
also by human scientists.
Right. Okay.
You started getting that memory back, and I'm just wondering if that memory coming back was induced by the NHI or if it was you bringing it back.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, and I'm going to try to keep it brief because we do go into it later on. Okay. First of all, Condyne clearly shows that the phenomenon can mess with people's minds when they have interactions with it. That's in the documents, which I was saying most of the people in ufology didn't even look at those documents because it doesn't fit the nuts and bolts that they believe is what UFOs are. Okay, but the phenomenon can mess with you. I do not know 100% for sure if I was messed with or not. I've always been honest about that. Other people like Peniston, Bustinza, Warren, and some other people have said they were brought in and interrogated. And Peniston under hypnosis said under hypnosis that they injected him with drugs. Okay. So, and Richard Doty, our friend Richard Doty, he came out and said that there was chemical and hypnosis used on us. And people will say, well, that's Doty. Well, problem with Doty is when he contacted me, he knew things about the case that nobody else could have unless he read a report, which is what he said. He said he had seen the report on Rendlesham. Okay, which that goes back to something else that people aren't even aware of. Kirkland Air Force Base is where they had a major UAP encounter prior to our incident. And then we had our incident. In the 50s, we had an incident at Beltwaters, and then Kirkland had an incident afterwards. And Doty was the case agent for OSI that was involved in the major incident at Kirkland. And he then was involved with Rendlesham because it was only a few months difference. Because OSI was deeply involved in both incidents. Okay, so it clearly looks like there's evidence that we were messed with chemically and hypnotically. Okay. And Halt said that too. He's been all over that for years. You can't trust anything any of them say because they were all messed with, except he wasn't, which I've always argued that, wait a minute, all of us were and you weren't. Well, that means you were part of the cover up because there's no way that you could have been out there, did the tape, been the elite investigator, and they didn't mess with you any different than us. You know what I mean? So, yes, there's a good chance we were chemically and hypnotically messed with at some point. The interesting thing with me is that Green, when he met with me, told me I will remember stuff as we go along. But are you guys ready? Why?
Wait. I was going to interject. Is that because of the signal itself tapping into your mind?
Okay, think about where I traveled.
You mean in the actual distortion time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I traveled forward.
You went into the future.
Did you encounter your other self in the future?
Yep. And guess what that means? When I hit the point of where I return to, I'm definitely going to remember everything.
All right.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. Yeah.
How far into the future did you think you went, John?
That I'm not sure. I mean, there are signs right now that I'm getting close.
So when you get to that point,
they claim I will remember everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Yes. Every single thing that happened to me.
And this is what.
Now, just remember, this is them saying it. I'm not. Yes. And Nolan, both.
Yeah, but doesn't that give you a suspicion that they know what's going on?
Well, there's a suspicion that they remote view. Well, actually, it's not actually a suspicion. The CIA, they actually released classified documents that they remote viewed the Rendlesham incident. Yes. Those are real documents that were declassified and they were put online.
Okay. This is all right. So if this was in do you believe that this was, even though when this happened at Rendlesham, was this something that was unexpected? Because this almost seems like this is intentional, that you were there at that moment and interacted with your future self. Like, do you think there was intention from the NHI that was controlling this purposely with you?
Could be. It could be
What do you
that.
think? What is your thoughts of the reasons behind that, though? Why you? Why this? Why do you think your future self? You interact with your future self? And
Well,
what?
you'd have to look at my hypnosis, and it says in there why they came back for me at that point. And then here's the real crazy part. They'll be back for me shortly. I'm in that time frame when they're going to reappear with me again.
Why do they want to reappear again, John?
They didn't say. They just said it was. This is where it gets really crazy. I went under, and according to certain intelligence agencies and people inside of it that actually sat down with me on my hypnosis, which freaked me out when they showed up, right? I'm not making this up. It really happened. They told me they felt I was directly communicating with the phenomenon during that hypnosis session.
Chris, have you ever seen the movie Star Trek? I think it was called Generations, where they're looking into the warp drive device and they travel back in time to the scientists.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like it's like the future knows our growth in technology with NHI consciousness, and we're going to hit a certain breakthrough point where maybe that's
for
John's
some
connection.
reason. John was made a conduit, and both sides are taking information from John. It's being transferred and withdrawn from the NHI to scientists, from scientists to the NHI. John is like that transistor that allows that flow to take place.
He's the bridge.
He's the bridge. That's the best way of putting it. What do you think, John? Am I on the money with that?
Yeah, you're getting close. And the thing is that I'll give you an example that's a little freaky right now, right? I've been working on projects, and I'm not afraid to admit it. A lot of people think it's the devil, and maybe it is. But I've been doing a lot of research with AI, right? Because it's unbelievable what you can come up with in a matter of minutes or a few minutes on a deep dive in everything that's out there. Every single thing that's out there that's, it's not, they're not going to go back to an encyclopedia in the library, but anything that's out there on the net, it'll find it if you ask it the right questions. AI knows what I want before I ask now.
But that could be based on
like a mind meld.
What?
But it could also be prior history. It knows your patterns.
Somewhat, but it also, okay, here's where it gets really crazy. I think I've told you this once before. I went and changed 12 through 22.
Right.
I had it completely written different. So when I came back after I woke up the next day, and something came to me while I was overnight to go rewrite it. As soon as I rewrote it, was starting to rewrite it, AI rewrote it. It knew exactly what I wanted. Yet I'm just telling you, I prompted it somewhat, but it knew exactly where I was going and what I wanted.
All right.
From the minute I started 12 all the way to 22. It knew it wasn't a struggle. People don't understand if you've used AI, it's a struggle. If you don't give it exactly what you're looking for, it doesn't find it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bill.
I got to get this because I got to get this to you, John. Since you are the subject of this, and there still could be, and I'm just saying could because this is your experience. There still could be a connection between you and this signal existing, and
I believe there is.
Right, and that means anything that's in your surroundings, they can tap into that as well, or maybe they already.
Well, wait a minute. Think about what you're saying. What happened with the TikTok? Is it TikTok, TikTok?
Tic-tac.
Tic-tac. What did they say happened after they encountered it?
It knew exactly where it was going to. Fravor says knew exactly where to go.
Right, it knew exactly where they're. What did they?
So it mind melted with Fravor.
So what was it? It was called a something point. It was waiting for them when it got to the.
It's called a combat point, a combat aerial point. I think it's called a cap.
Yeah, it's a cap. That's the word.
Anytime a a task force goes out, there's certain areas that are they're classified. Only the pilots would know. They're designated areas where the pilots would fly.
Right. And
I
what
think they're
it
combat
did,
aerial
it was
points or something
for
like
him
that.
at that point. It was
Right.
waiting for him at that point.
Waiting for him.
Yeah.
It actually did barrel rolls around one of the Super
Yes,
Hornets.
there you go.
Gosh.
And so it knew how it would fly. But here's the thing. So, John, your pattern is more advanced. It makes the pattern of abductees. Now, a lot of abductees have said that when after their experience, they've had dreams where their unconsciousness pulls out these weird dreams that they never had before. That's number one. Number two is that they sometimes had electrical equipment when they get too near have problems. Now, based on that, I think you took the next level up where you can basically interact with electronics and also interact with them as far as that goes, because there is a pattern. There's no doubt about that. A lot of abductees have said, geez, if I get near, if I wear a watch, it always goes off on time. If I get near a computer, it goes haywire. And they can't explain why. You are a step above that.
I agree.
Where your interaction caused you to be able to take that more advanced. Does that make sense of what I'm saying, John?
Well, okay, I'll take it a step higher, and this is where I'm talking about this whole thing in science fiction. Okay, you have to take a look at the people that reached out to me and came after me.
Sure.
You have to take a look at what they're researching and working on inside government. And these guys, that whether you like it or not, and I'm not a big fan of some of them, trust me, they have a direct doorway to the intelligence agencies inside government. Green actually was involved with Reagan, if you didn't know that. He briefed him on certain things. And guess what he briefed him on? And guess what happened after he briefed him? Do you remember the Reagan speech?
Yeah, if we got attacked by another outside entity.
Green briefed him right before he made that speech.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know a lot of this stuff. So where I'm going with this is it appears that this AI technology that I'm working with knew exactly what I wanted the next day, and I wrote all the chapters within 2 hours. Completely rewrote every chapter within 2 hours. And it just flowed. It just flowed. The first 11 were hard. I was having to do research, look at Condyne, look at weapon systems, drag all this stuff out, okay? And that's why what Chris has said, he's got a real keen eye. Everything I'm talking about is real. This is not made up stuff technology-wise or anything else. I went in and did deep research on Condyne, on weapon systems, on FOIAs that I done, Worrell and I did all this stuff. And I was doing chapter by chapter trying to format this series. And then it went completely different from 12 to 22. And then all of a sudden, I overnight, I woke up and said, I got to change it. And it just flowed, man. It was just like chapter after chapter, boom, 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 boom. And
I got to ask both of you, because Chris, you brought up a great point with other experiencers, abductees. Mm-hmm. Could it be that they already know? And I'm not trying to say this is the extraterrestrial angle here, but something else that they know who to target. I hate to use that word, but they know people that have this awareness or tap into as being receptors, where they can connect with this signal or this NHI or an NHI/consciousness. And I would like to know if these individuals have anything that there should be a study done prior to their experience and after, like John, if there's any anomalies that were different prior or after the events that they experienced. In other words, did John did something happen to John in a physical and even here a neurological sense that it enhanced
Yes.
his?
I
Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like it made it more, because how much of the brain are we able to use? 10%. I mean, maybe it gave the ability to have even more perception. Call it the psionics or psychic ability, but a higher awareness and a higher use of consciousness, and that can be translated into dreams or meditation, whatever the person, whatever their personal experience is, whatever means is how they're having that experience. But John, does that make any kind of sense? Did they look at you before, prior, or after to see how maybe it affected you on a physicality level? You're like we spoke about in the past, the DNA, but maybe in your brain itself, like did they do any CAT scans or check to see if anything changed?
When Green approached Pat Frasconia and I, he wanted two things done. He wanted an MRI done of the brain, and he wanted the DNA tested. Now, the thing is they tested 100 people. They've said this openly. They tested 100 different people, mostly military, that were involved with UAP encounters. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really completely go into details about the MRI, who they were testing or not. Okay. They did want to test me, but because of my pacemaker, even though it's MRI safe, they couldn't get the justification to go in and risk it, because there still is risk if you have a pacemaker, even if it's MRI safe. But I didn't agree to either one at first. And then the MRI was taken off the table. But the DNA was taken when I had my surgery at the VA center. That was taken plus tissue. So they analyzed all that. And whatever they learned from that, Green came back and paid me a personal visit here in Illinois, brought me a bunch of documents that had to do with technology formulas. And he told me to start working on certain meditations that are ancient that would help me better understand my abilities. He made it very clear I could become very dangerous quickly if I would just tap into what I have.
So here's the difference between you and John, if I may jump in on this. So a lot of abductees are in a different situation than you, John. You had a more controlled situation. A lot of abductees are taken out of their homes and stuff like that. Now, when they're returned, a lot of abductees will say, I've been downloaded with this information, but I can't obtain it. I don't know what it is. All I know is that at a certain time, it will become knowledge to me, or I'll know what it is. That is classic abductee situation. I've had numerous abductees tell me, Chris, I can't tell you what the information is. All I know is that I feel like I've been downloaded with something. I have that feeling. Unconsciously, when I sleep, I have these dreams that I've never had before. And most of those dreams, probably 90% of what they told me, is world destruction, nuclear war, fires raging, the whole bit is stuff. The difference between them and you is that the government was able to tap into you, where they have not been able to tap into other people. Whether that's because the NHI was able to, somehow or another advance your ability to transmit that information, to be able to extort it, take it out. But it was easy because you were an Air Force person. You were a government person. They could do this and legally be able to do this, as opposed to taking a private citizen.
And they set this test up, Chris. They did it. They're the ones who designed this. Like you said,
Correct.
The abductees, they don't have control, but
Correct.
they made it a controlled setting.
That's right.
That's the difference. You're right. Exactly. Right on money. Spot on.
What do you think, John?
I'm not disagreeing with you, Chris, but granted, I was in the military. Green made the comment that Rendlesham slipped through the cracks. In other words, but it's interesting he said that, because then he came back and told Halt and I that he actually was the guy that actually had approved the memo to be released to the MOD. Doty has said Green was there at Rendlesham when it happened.
So it was controlled. See, a lot of these abductee situations are not controlled. They don't know when they're going to happen. They don't know who it's going to happen. Somehow or another, they were able to do a controlled thing with you. That's what I believe so far in the story. Now, I may be way off
Well,
base.
let me throw another scenario at you, okay? Okay, that whole thing they were doing, I don't think, at least on night one, that they didn't expect us to show up, because there had been other stuff going on prior to our events that had been seen even in December. And some people that got there, I didn't get told this. I got told about East End Charlie, but another guy that I'm friends with, his name's Doc Rhodes. He was told when he got there, you're going to see strange things flying around in the sky sometimes. Just ignore them. So there was clearly stuff that was going on outside the back gate. I don't think that they really expected us to go off base, because one of the reasons is this, okay? We really didn't have the reason to go off base technically until the radar systems that they contacted identified something going down in the woods. Then the ship commander and the command post and whoever they called authorized us to go off base. Normally, just because you got something strange going outside the gate, we don't leave the base. We let the local authorities take a look at what it is, especially in a foreign country.
I guess what you're saying to me is they took advantage of a situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We went out there and had our experience. They had a crack team of scientists out there working on this stuff. And then once it happened, you darn right they did. They, you know, and there's another thing that I think we talked about before. I'll bring it up again. A lot of weapon systems develop off of other research that's going on. We talked about that before. How the lasers or the death ray, they invented the radar and different things that from other technologies. Then they discovered other technologies from it. So the thing is I firmly believe that time dilation was just being studied at that point off the phenomenon, and I walked into a time dilation mode.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, one of the things that I watch for, if I want to get an idea of what the government's advancing on, I watch the college experiments that come online. The college experiments, like they'll say, oh my God, we were able to teleport an atom from one place to another. All right. Now, if the college is already doing that, that means somewhere along the line, the government's probably 20 years more advanced than that.
But the government does have investments in college and universities. They have facilities there.
Of course. But
because they're funding it.
Well, does anybody know that Kit Green works at Wayne State University?
Yeah. He's a medical doctor, right, John?
Well, yeah, he's actually the medical doctor for the government for UAPs.
Yeah.
That's not made up. It's real.
No.
But most people just went right over your head.
Now, here's the one thing that, I asked Richard Dolan to get me in contact with Kit Green, because I was doing a paper and I was doing a PowerPoint presentation on the physical effects of abductees. This was about 4 years ago. It was at Pine Bush. Remember, Bill?
Yes.
All right. So about 4 or 5 years ago. And I did a whole presentation. I wanted to talk to Kit Green. And he was very polite. I sent an email to him. He emailed back, Chris, thank you so much. I appreciate this. However, this is one subject I cannot talk about. And that was the end. So being an investigator, of course, is that, well, if he can't talk about that subject, that means he's probably working on that subject. And so that made me even more.
Well, yeah, but let me add a couple of things, Chris, that are clearly about what he said. First of all, the biological paper that was one of the 38 DIRTS papers is all about what you wanted to know.
Right.
And that was released 5 years ago, okay, to McCain when he was alive. And not only that, but he did an interview with a British newspaper going into a lot of what the paper was about. So I'm just saying, I understand he was polite with you, but that's the game he plays.
Sure.
I mean, that's what I mean. He's evasive unless it benefits him. If it's something that's going to benefit and make, for him personally and whatever he's working on, he'll get involved. But if it's not, he'll give you, at least you got a pleasant brush off. A lot of times you don't even hear from the guy.
It was polite, but however, I will tell you that I got a visit from Homeland Security about the presentation.
What was in it? What was in it?
I can't tell you.
What? Wait, are you talking about me? You did a presentation. Bill, you were there. You were there at Prime Post.
I have the recording.
What was in it? Yeah, I sent it to me. I want to know because that's something that's a big deal.
You never told me.
After my presentation, I got a call from New York City from Special Agent in Homeland Security who wanted to talk to me about what I was working on. And he drove to Buffalo, New York, sat down with me, spent 5 hours.
I think I know what it is. I'm not going to say it, but I think I know
why.
What it is.
You guys all talk about secrecy, and you did a presentation. What it is?
Because I was sworn to secrecy that I couldn't.
Bill, you were. What do you think it is?
I think it has to do with a certain location nearby me.
A little bit. It had to. Let's just say this.
Yeah, for Chris, because they might be watching.
Okay.
Ow.
Who cares?
Wait. Well, if you want me to answer, I'll answer.
I want to hear this. I want to hear it.
So, anyways, Homeland Security does not do intelligence work. They do criminal work. One of the focus that Homeland Security does, if there's an intelligent project, it's usually passed off to an intelligence agency.
FBI, usually.
FBI, NSA, DEA, whatever that is. Homeland Security usually does criminal. So taking that this might be a criminal thing, right? That gave me, this is what he told me, but being an investigator myself, a criminal investigator myself, is saying that if somebody must have got hurt, and it might have been hurt because of a project within the government.
Oh, you mean like Montauk?
I mean, like maybe John Burrow.
No, like Montauk. Like, yeah. Don't you guys live in the area of Montauk?
No, that's Long Island.
That's Long Island.
That's pretty close, right? You're within 100 miles.
No, I'm not. He is. I'm not.
Yeah, right.
Even I am. It's more than 100 for me.
So, anyways,
this is a little closer, John.
My own assumption is that maybe you, I don't know, but somewhere along the line, a criminal investigation might have been open, and I can only project by my own opinion, and I could be way off base, but something may have happened in the government thing that they decided to open an investigation on this to see it, and I never heard anything else again. It was one of those.
If you never
I got a nice coin. I got a nice challenge
if you
coin.
haven't heard another thing, nothing's been made public. What was it?
I don't know.
What did they ask you?
I told you they asked me about my presentation about the physical.
But what in your presentation did they ask you about?
About the physical effects of abductees when they've come back from their abduction. What physical effects have they had?
What a physical effect were they looking at?
Well, they were looking at all of them, John. They were looking at it, comparing it to Havana syndrome.
Oh,
because that's
now you've actually said something that makes sense. Okay.
I've been saying everything that makes sense just because
I'm talking about that actually makes me understand a little bit better. You've been doing the curly shuffle tap dance all around this, right? Oh, well, that's right.
Oh, I don't want to give away chapter 5.
We're going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, but we're trying to have people watch a show. This has nothing to do. I'll openly talk about it once it happens all day. Ask me any questions.
I will tell you, I got a nice challenge coin from Homeland Security. So
that's nice. We got like 8 minutes, so we do got to preview a little bit of 5. But I have to ask John something because, Chris, I think this could be connected. I'm not saying it is. But what if those people that claim with the downloads and the suppressed memory of them, they don't even know what really is going on? What if they also are triggered? That all of a sudden, similar to John, it could be coming. He thinks it could be coming soon. That all of a sudden, all these memories just come back.
That's a great question, but you know what? I think John is, and I say this in the very nicest way. I think John is special. I think John has that unique thing. Jesus.
No, I get it. He said unique.
I'm not saying that, but those are the trigger words. Hybrid and special bother me. I'm just telling you.
Well, I said hybrid last week, and you didn't like that. So I'm
a country boy from Illinois.
John,
what?
I got to ask you, when you had your experience, can you confirm that you did encounter, or you a memory of an encounter, whether through hypnosis or otherwise, of meeting your future self?
Ooh, that's down the road again. I'm going to play Chris.
There we go.
But it's true. What do you want me to do? Here's what I'll do. I'll just go download the book, or I take the book and read you chapter by chapter. You guys are great. I mean, you're great detectives. You're really into it. I can tell you're looking at what I'm trying to tell and where it's going.
Oh.
But what do you want me to do? Just tell everybody? You know what I mean?
No, John, you've been. I will tell you, John, you've been really great.
Yes.
I would hate to have you in an interview box, because it would take us a long time to get. If you ever murdered anybody, it'd probably take me 8 hours to get you to confess.
Let's just go a little farther than that, Chris. Let me just tell you something about me, Chris. I was trained as an evaluator, an interrogator, an interviewer, and I know all the tricks of the trade. So it would take a little longer than 8 hours for you to
probably, and I concede to that. You probably would.
One more. I have to ask one more quick question related to that. When you were having your experience, did scenery change, location, like anything in your surroundings? Was it different than what was going on in the forest at the time? Did it change inside?
Bill. What have I said all along, openly about what happened? I got close to something twice, and I don't know what happened after that. I can only go off of what, like Adrian Bristenza said, a light came over me and I disappeared.
Okay.
Now, what I can tell you, under hypnosis, it goes into great detail about what happened afterwards. Now, I've always said this. Pennison's binary code shook the fabric of Rendlesham, and it caused a lot of problems. If my hypnosis tape was released, Pennison's binary code is just whatever. I'm just telling you. And again, I am not 100% sold on everything in the hypnosis. I mean, imagine being brought in by intelligence and told that I communicated with the phenomenon. Think about
who has it? The government? It's classified? Is that the hypnosis tapes?
No, I have them. I'm just not. The people aren't ready for this. Have you seen a 10-minute tape out there that is out there?
No,
it's out there online. You can find it. Just put my name into YouTube, and there's a 10-minute tape of a small section of my hypnosis.
How long was it?
10 minutes.
No, not that clip. How long was your hypnosis session?
Over 2 hours.
And you had that whole record of that?
I have it sitting here in a vault in my house.
Are you ever planning to release that?
I'm doing it right now.
And, oh boy, this just gets more interesting every week.
It's part of the Green Veil, Bill.
Okay.
John, quick question.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't mentioned at all. Where was Halt through all this? You mentioned Pendleton, but you haven't mentioned Halt.
Well, Pendleton and I and Kabansak went on night one, and then there's a lot more to it. People came out looking for us and stuff. But night two was the Tamplin incident where she got run off the road by a blue light and it freaked her out and she got relieved of duty. Night three was with Halt. And Halt, if you listen to the tape, he went out there with the team before I was out there, but I was held back in the rears. In fact, the funny thing was that he tried to deny we were ever out there. But right there on the tape, it goes security control to whoever it was. And it was Ball that answered. And he said, "We have Emmett Burrows and 2 other personnel requesting rendezvous at your location." And Ball came back and said, "Not at this point. We'll let them know and they can meet up with us." So I eventually got up and met up with Halt's team and went forward.
Well, gentlemen, we got like 2 minutes, but I will say quickly, it's going to be really interesting in chapter 5 when we see the actual harmonic connection of the signal with John Burroughs and the connection. The cat always has to make it.
He's trying to cause trouble. He wants his dinner.
Now, quick, Chris. I thought I had to watch chapter, even though it's short, it's 14 minutes long, chapter 5, but I had to watch it a couple of times.
Now, though, Bill, I want to tell you something that I thought was funny today when we talked about next week's show, okay, is Chris has gotten it from the beginning. It's not the music and the show. The music is part of the show.
Right.
So sometimes it may only be 8 or 9 minutes of narration, but the music is just as important as the narration.
And it's in that one. It's at the beginning, but I also want to put this up before we leave. Make sure, folks, to visit this. This is part of the content creators.
Yeah, he did a great job
with the music. So it's right there on the screen. Becks Creek Soundscape Studios at bcss.rocks.
And he's got a lot of the music that we've created besides what's in the 22 chapters.
And right there on the YouTube channel, the music is also there. You can see it in its entirety. It's beautiful. And like Chris mentioned at the onset of the show, it definitely has an integral part in the meaning and the messaging of the chapter. So it's very important. Like John just mentioned about even next week, you'll see when you watch it. So hopefully everybody will tune in Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern on all the KGRA DB platforms. On X, it's at Global Radio Live. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap up? John, you
Chris, enlighten me. You're really doing a good job. I'm telling you.
I hope you come back.
I'm not making
that it's such a
really doing
comedy.
well. I mean, it's clear you were definitely a good detective. So,
Thank you, John.
So, I'm serious. So, what are you going to keep joining us? Because this is great.
It's totally up to Bill and you.
You're
I'm
welcome
your humble servant.
You're not serving us. You're actually enlightening people. I love it. So,
and Commander will be back in a couple of weeks with us for 3. So, and hopefully maybe we'll even get the Padre in as we get toward I don't want to give away anything either because everybody seems like they almost slipped tonight. But it's going to get really interesting, folks. You have no idea. I know where some of it's going, but John is just not giving us any information, obviously.
Let me just say this to the folks, if you really want to see something that's awesome about ufology, watch The Green Veil because it's an amazing story. It's done really well. It's very unique because the music tells a lot about the story. And it's one of the best things I've ever seen created. I highly recommend this should go on your bucket list.
And remember, there's going to be more information. John's biography, autobiography, really, is going to be coming out in November. That's going to lay out a lot of information. So, and of course, I don't have it near me, but maybe I do. This is a good starting point. The James Warrow, John Burroughs book 2. Just to give you a little background, a little bit more background, you may want to pick this up. And of course, the book that he and Toby released a few months ago, it's on Amazon. And make sure to catch up because all of this is real information. It's not like the stuff we see in hearings where there's lack of evidence. John is going to provide evidence, documents, correspondence. I mean, this is as legit as you're going to get because out there. I'm just saying. This is just my opinion.
Bill, will you enlighten me with just one more question before we go?
Sure, of course. I could do it.
John, you're probably one of the most knowledgeable people about this subject. I'm just wondering why you haven't been brought before Congress.
They tried.
Real short and sweet. I was invited up and I declined. And
okay.
The bottom line with this is this. All this stuff that's going on right now, they're providing no hard evidence. I just was approached again. I told him this, go to the government and ask them the status of my records. If they will tell you where they are at or if they're classified, you will have the evidence you need for me to come up there and talk more about this. But I'm not going to be what they're doing over and over again. Coming up, people are coming up and saying, well, I can tell you about this, but I can't. I'm not going to pull a Chris and say, Homeland Security contacted me, but I can't really tell you why. No, I'm just saying I will go up there if they will identify the status of my medical records. And if they can show to the American people that they're still classified, then I'll be happy to come up and talk. I'll be happy to go up and talk about all this. Otherwise, I'll be just like everybody else, telling a story.
Nothing to back it up.
And well, I have something because I
the
have
other ones. The other.
Yeah, I do have some already. I've got the settlement documents, and I've got Kyle's letter that said my records were classified. But if you want the slam dunk, just have Congress have the balls to go to this agency and say, what is the status of his records?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Answer out of them.
Yeah, good starting point.
Great question, Chris. Awesome again, man. I can't wait I'm glad you're aboard.
Well, for everyone, have a great night. For John Burroughs, Chris DePerno, and myself, have a great night. Hope you enjoyed it. And make sure to tune in Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern on all the KGRA DB platforms, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and, of course, on X at Global Radio Live. And until next week, we'll see you next week. And we have a great rest of your weekend. And look forward to seeing you all again next week live. Till then, have a great night, everybody.